We took a little detour with True Romance, but let's get back into slasher territory. Let's get into it. Hey, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all doing well out there. Today we're going to talk about a slasher film that I've actually never seen before until last night. But before we talk about that slasher and go into the woods, do me a favor, like, comment, and subscribe. Join me here. I would appreciate that. Today we're going to talk about Edge of the Axe. I've never seen this before until last night. It's on Tubi for free, so if you have Tubi, you can check it out if you're interested. This is actually a film. I remember seeing the box for this at my local video store, the one I used to frequent all the time when I was younger, back in Tamaqua, Pennsylvania. I never rented it for whatever reason. I'm a big time slasher fan. I never rented it. I don't know why. The box art is pretty cool. It definitely gives off Friday the 13th vibes. I just never rented it. I never saw it, didn't really think about it until a couple weeks ago. I was looking on Tubi and it's on there, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna include that in my summer camp slasher series. And then when I watched it last night, I didn't know anything about this film besides it was a slasher film. I thought it was in the vein of Friday the 13th, which it kind of is, but it's not a summer camp. But what the hell, we're gonna include it here anyway. So we're gonna talk about Edge of the Axe. Now, this was a film that was co-produced between a Spanish production company and a U.S. production company. It was shot in Big Bear, California for all the exteriors and some interiors, and some of the interiors were shot in Madrid, Spain. Now, the director of this film, which I've never seen any of his work, is Jose Ramon Lazar. I think it's how you say his name. If not, I apologize. This movie's an hour and 31 minutes long. It actually got released on VHS in the U.S. September 15th of 1989, even though it was shot in 87, didn't get released till 89. And it went out unrated, although this isn't overly gory. Yes, there's violence and there's gore, but it's not crazy gory. I mean, Friday the 13th Part 4 is much gorier than this film. And in this film, there's nobody really recognizable. There's only two actors I'll go down here. There are two main leads. Barton Fawkes plays Gerald. He only went on to do two other films in his career. He didn't do much. And Christina Lane plays Lillian, and she also did not have much of a career. She did a few things after this, but they didn't go on to do much in the acting realm. And this is a slasher film, baby. It starts off at this car wash. This lady, who we don't know who she is in her station wagon going through the car wash. This guy with a latex white mask, pretty much, it looks kind of like Halloween, although doesn't look like Michael Myers' mask, just a white latex mask. Uses an axe, smashes the window, kills the woman, and we are on our way. We're introduced to Gerald and his friend. He just moved to this little town in Northern California, and he's doing like odd jobs. His friend is a pest control guy, and he goes out and helps him, gets money that way. He's renting this little cabin from this older gentleman, and he's really into computers. They dive into that in this film, and he meets Lillian down at this. They have this bar by this lake, and they're smitten with each other, and they really like each other. But Lillian has a past, which we're going to get into. And the killer continues to show up and starts killing people methodically, one by one, as the movie goes along. And we do see, the effects here are okay. You can tell this was a lower budgeted film, but it's not bad, the effects-wise. They do show contact with the axe hitting people. It doesn't look the greatest. It looks okay for what they were trying to do here. And as we go along, Gerald and Lillian start getting deeper and deeper kind of in love with each other. They keep seeing each other, and Gerald lets Lillian borrow one of his computers because he got a new one. And she finds out that she wonders why Gerald is keeping track of all the killings going on, and the sheriff's on the case. And we're introduced to new characters as we go along. Some don't have very much to do to get introduced and get killed. 2 minutes later, there's a woman who gets introduced at this bar, and on the way home, she gets killed by the axe murderer. So they throw a lot of characters here, besides our main leads here, trying to throw off. This is definitely a whodunit in the vein of Scream. And before we get into the rest of that, as we go along, we find out that Lillian had this cousin who she kept pushing on this swing, and he told her to stop, and she wouldn't, and he flew off and hit his head, and he was messed up after that. And he got admitted to a psychiatric hospital, and she never saw him again. And they don't know if she was told he was dead, but she knows he's still alive. And this all culminates in the end where Gerald confronts Lillian at her house and says, "You made up your cousin. He doesn't exist. You have some major problems, and we got to deal with it." And the cops show up, and she goes running out screaming, and Gerald has the axe in his hand. The cops shoot him. She wraps her arms around the chief of police, and the camera freeze frames on her eyes all crazy. We're made to believe that Lillian was the one carrying out these murders, and that's the end of Edge of the Axe. What to like about this film? You can tell it's low budget. The director does okay here. Like I said, I'm not familiar with the rest of his work. The director does consider it his worst feature film he's ever done. It's not bad here. The directing's okay. It's nothing special. It's nothing flashy. It's just okay. It gets the job done for what they're trying to convey. Effects-wise, the effects look fine. We get some cut-off fingers, chopped-off fingers with an axe. We get some body contact with the axe. We get some aftermath gore. The camera pans away and you get blood splashes. Nothing too overly violent. I don't know why this went out unrated unless they just said screw it and didn't submit it to the MPAA maybe. I don't know, because it went direct to video anyway. Some of the Friday the 13th films, the early ones, are way gorier than this film. Although this film does give you some carnage candy for sure. The twist, the whodunit aspect, I mean, they try to throw a lot of people at you whodunit, and they really set up Gerald as the killer. You really think he might be Lillian's cousin who broke out of this insane asylum and he just wants revenge? Because he does act a little strange throughout the film. They also set up some other folks that don't make a whole lot of sense. But at the end, we're made to believe, the way the film wraps up, that Lillian's the one that carried out all these murders. Now, I found it very amusing, this reveal at the end. And I chuckled and I thought it was a cool reveal. But thinking back on what took place during the film, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense that she's the killer. But if you don't take this so seriously, you can enjoy this film for what it is. It's late to the game, because this didn't come out till '89. So the slasher genre was winding down. I mean, Friday the 13th was already seeing less and less success at the box office. Nightmare on Elm Street was starting to bring in less and less money by this point, by the time this film hit. So the slasher genre was really running out of steam by the time this came along. And it went, I guess that's probably why it went direct to video. But at the end of the day, it's an okay, enjoyable slasher film. I don't think it's the greatest. It's not as bad as I thought. It definitely surprised me that it wasn't I thought it was going to be a shitty slasher film. It's actually not awful. It's actually better than some of the really bad Friday the 13th sequels. But at the end of the day, it's not a great film by any stretch of the imagination. At the end of the day, I'd give Edge of the Axe a 5.5 out of 10. I would watch it again sometime down the road. It's not the greatest thing in the world, but I was pleasantly surprised by how much I did enjoy it for what it was. Again, I am not saying this is a great horror film by any stretch, but it's a very enjoyable watch. The acting's not the greatest, directing's just okay, and the effects are okay. But at the end of the day, I was amused by the reveal and the whodunit aspect, and actually at a few points, since I never saw it before, I thought it was Gerald. I would have said it was Gerald the whole time. So it was kind of surprising where they set her up towards the end. But at the end of the day, like I said, if you think about it a little much, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But at the end of the day, 5.5 out of 10 for Edge of the Axe. If you've ever seen this film, leave a comment down below, let me know. Hit the thumbs up and subscribe button. Share this video. Great would appreciate that. Check out my Discord as well, just my name. I'll be back soon with Sleepaway Camp 2, and then we're going to do Sleepaway Camp 3, and then we're going to move on to some other horror stuff. But until then, I hope you're all doing well out there, and I'm just going to leave you with, bye.